Hey there, I'm Aaron, and welcome to Quick Pitch, where I do my best to sell you on a movie in about the time it takes to watch a preview. Today's pitch is for Jingle Bell Rocks from 2013. It has an exclamation point at the end, so you got to say it with a certain, passion there at the end. Jingle Bell Rocks. This is a film written and directed by Mitchell Kezin, who actually, this one I first saw at the Cleveland International Film Festival, probably around 2013, 2014. And was an odd thing to be watching in April when the film festival was March, April, whatever. And it charmed me at that time of the year. And I was like, you know what? Okay, this is going to be one of those in rotation Christmas movies I'm going to have to revisit and watch probably over and over and over again. It's a documentary that is specifically about Christmas music. So, yeah, that's specific, right? It's such a weird specific subgenre of documentaries, but it's also a specific subgenre of documentary, meaning that it's about record collecting. It's about specifically the niche collecting of Christmas music, but also interview some musicians and things like that, which I'll mention here in a second. But it's also so specific that it's not even just a music documentary. It's about Christmas music specifically. So when would you have an audience for this type of movie? Well, probably December. Like it felt weird to be watching it in April, although honestly, it brought me a lot of joy and happiness. I was just smiling for like 94 minutes watching this documentary, even the first time when it wasn't the Christmas season. But what it does for me in the subsequent years since I've initially watched it is it's like my kickoff for watching some Christmas and holiday specials throughout the month of December. This one sets the tone, it sets the mood, and also it gives you a really, really kick-ass list of novelty, obscure, really interesting, fascinating, and awesome Christmas music. I grab another song title every time I watch this to put on my Christmas list to put on my Christmas playlist, and that's a fantastic experience to always find something new that's in there because there's so much music used in this one, and it's a pretty eclectic group. It's everyone from like Run DMC to Miles Davis to the Flaming Lips. Like it's a wide eclectic throughout the history of modern music, but also across all kinds of different genres as well. There's even a section where they interview some folks who run a record store slash recording studio that specialize in calypso music. So there's some calypso Christmas music that's included in here as well. Now, not all of these songs are like immediately available on a Spotify or Apple Music or places like that. Some of them they do make a point of like this only exists on this one vinyl compilation from 1954, and you get like a little clip of it played in the movie. It's just such a wide survey of different things, all within what seems to be this like real niche Christmas music subgenre. But it opens up this idea because it's a personal journey kind of biography that Mitchell Kezin's doing, but it's also kind of a music collector kind of portrait because he interviews a lot of other people that either work in the music industry or have worked in the music industry or the recording industry, but are also big, vinyl collectors as well, music collectors. It's also a subculture documentary. It's also a musicians documentary. It also gives you some behind the scenes look at some radio shows as they're doing Christmas themed radio shows. And there's also a tiny little segment in there, which I totally loved and got a huge nostalgia fix out of, which is like the idea of making a mixtape or a mixed CD for your friends and family. But also, apparently, there's a whole underground mixtape CD circuit where people are trading mixed Christmas music CDs around the country with each other. I don't know. It's a really fascinating, very breezy 94 minutes covering all these different kind of aspects of a subculture that really only sparks people's interest to watch, unfortunately, for 1 month out of the year. It's weird how that works. Like I have zero interest in listening to Christmas music basically until the day after Thanksgiving, and then somehow something switches in my brain, and I was like, yeah, I'll give Christmas music a spin for about a month. But then, as the minute Christmas is end, morning on December 26th, I'm like, nope, I'm done. Put it away until next year. And since we're all bombarded. I mean, you can't go anywhere out in public, or if anybody still turns on, terrestrial radio, you cannot escape Christmas music throughout the month of December. Actually, the creep is sort of starting even earlier. It's kind of like as soon as Halloween's done, it's time for some stores definitely putting out Christmas decorations, if not actually playing Christmas music as well. And this documentary really shows like, yeah, there's more than like that, those like 40, 50 Christmas songs that are out there. There's some really interesting, wild stuff. Are you into swing music? There's a bunch of Christmas music. Are you into jazz? Okay, here's a bunch of Christmas music. Are you into hip hop? Here's a whole bunch of Christmas music. Oh, you like punk music? I'm just picking the genres I like now. Here's a whole bunch of Christmas music. And There's the goofy versions, there's the, R-rated versions, there's the new takes, there's the terrible ones, there's the attempts that you're like, "Oh god, yeah, I was swing and a miss," but appreciate the effort there. There's actually even a quote one interviewee has in this documentary where he says, "The strange appeal of Christmas music is that so much of it is bad. It feels great when you find a good one or a great one." It's a rough quote. I don't know if I wrote that down exactly right or not. But then that speaks to his impetus for making mixtapes. Like, he wants to, like, "Oh my gosh, I found this amazing one. Have you ever heard this one?" Whether it's a novelty or just a legit great song, get it out there on a mixtape and share it with other collectors. I would highly recommend watching this film if you have a group, if you can watch it with, extended family, if you have family over for holidays. It's one you could honestly probably even just have on in the background. I know that's sacrilegious from a point of like sitting down and concentrating on a film, but it'll really get, especially if you have multiple generations hanging out together, it's really going to get the nostalgia flowing, like the power of music to capture a moment and become like a memory trigger for your brain, kind of to store away that moment because that song and that moment are tied together. It's going to get people reminiscing and like, "Oh my God, the first time I heard that song was such and such." Or like I mentioned it to my mom and she was describing going to like, a Sears or J.C. Penney or one of those department stores. And every year that department store had a new vinyl Christmas compilation album that her parents would collect. And like that became the background soundtrack to her holidays growing up as a kid. And then she started playing those records when I was a kid. So my Christmas music memories from when I was a kid are putting on vinyl records to play these classic songs. So it's going to be one of those that's really going to get a lot of nostalgia going and a lot of memories going, and it's going to, just go with it. Put this one on, when you're around a group, pause if need be, but get that conversation going, and you're going to get some great memories shared, and you're going to have a great time getting a little nostalgic with Jingle Bell Rocks from 2013.